Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic coins ever released in the United States, the 1776 to 1976 Bicentennial Quarter. This coin isn't just pocket change, it's a piece of history, celebrating 200 years of American independence. Millions of people held it in their hands, but what many don't realize is that some of these quarters are worth far more than their face value, especially if you know what to look for. The story begins in the mid-1970s, when America was preparing to celebrate the bicentennial. The U.S. Mint wanted to do something special, so they redesigned the quarter, half dollar, and dollar. For the quarter, the reverse was given a beautiful design by Jack L. Ahr, showing a colonial drummer with a torch of victory surrounded by 13 stars. It was bold, patriotic, and instantly became a favorite among collectors. On the front, the familiar portrait of George Washington remained, but the date was changed to read 1776 to 1976, forever linking this coin to that monumental anniversary. Now, while these coins were struck in huge numbers and were seen in everyday circulation for decades, not all quarters are created equal. The standard-clad versions, made of copper and nickel, are the most common. But there were also special issues struck in silver for collectors. These silver bicentennial quarters came in mint sets and proof sets, and because fewer were made, they hold a much stronger collector appeal. What really excites coin hunters are the rare varieties and errors. Some bicentennial quarters show doubling on the letters or numbers, a classic minting error that instantly raises the value. Others were struck on the wrong planchets, meaning the coin might be missing part of its design or struck on a different metal blank entirely. There are also off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and even proof coins with unusual frosting or mirror-like surfaces that make them stand out as special. Each of these unique features can turn an ordinary quarter into a highly prized collectible. Collectors also pay close attention to condition. A bicentennial quarter that has been heavily circulated may only be worth face value, but one that looks brand new, with no scratches or wear, can be worth much more. Grading services have given some of these coins very high grades, and at auction, those pieces have attracted serious bids. The combination of a historic design, limited silver issues, rare mint errors, and pristine condition is what drives demand for this coin. So, if you've got a bicentennial quarter tucked away in a drawer or jar, it's worth taking a closer look. That drummer boy design might seem common, but under the right circumstances, it can be worth a lot more than 25 cents. And here's the exciting part: some of the rarest silver bicentennial quarters in top condition, or those with unique errors, have sold for thousands of dollars at auction. Even well-preserved examples of the standard issue can fetch far more than face value when collectors are looking for them. That's the magic of coin collecting. Something you thought was ordinary can turn out to be extraordinary. So, check your change carefully, especially if you come across one of these historic bicentennial quarters. The real market value for some of the rarest and highest grade examples has reached several $1,000s, and in major auctions, they have been sold for well over $10,000. Top 2, we're talking about one of the more recent quarters that has already caught the attention of collectors all across America, the 2021 Washington Quarter, better known as the Crossing the Delaware Quarter. At first glance, you might think this is just another modern coin, but let me tell you, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye, especially when it comes to rare errors, collector demand, and the surprising prices some examples have brought. The story of this quarter is fascinating. For more than 20 years, we were used to seeing the state quarters and then the beautiful national park quarters. But in 2021, the U.S. Mint issued this one-year-only design to bridge the gap before the American Women Quarters program began. That alone makes it historically significant. The obverse still features the familiar bust of George Washington, but on the reverse is a powerful scene of Washington crossing the Delaware River during the Revolutionary War, based on Emanuel Lewitz's famous painting. It's dramatic, it's patriotic, and it instantly gave the coin a sense of importance. Now, even though millions of these coins were struck for circulation, collectors know that not every quarter is the same. The condition of the coin, the mint it was struck at, and whether it came from a special mint set all play a role in determining value. Quarters struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints are the most common, while the San Francisco mint produced proof versions, including silver proofs, which are much scarcer and often far more desirable. Where things get really exciting is when we start talking about errors. Some of these 2021 quarters have striking mistakes that make them extremely valuable. Collectors have reported double dies, where parts of the design appear doubled, especially around the lettering. Others show off-center strikes, where the design is not properly aligned. Then there are die chips and cuds, which look like extra blobs of metal on the coin, often appearing near Washington's hat or around the letters. Each of these errors transforms a normal quarter into something truly special, because no two error coins are exactly alike. Another detail collectors focus on is the grade. Coins that are still in pristine, mint state condition with sharp detail and brilliant luster can be worth many times their face value. High-grade examples certified by grading services are highly sought after, and because this design was only made for a single year, demand has already been strong. So, while it's easy to overlook these quarters as just another piece of change, they represent a unique chapter in U.S. coinage history. They honor a defining moment in America's fight for independence. They were only struck for 1 year, and with the right errors or condition, they can be surprisingly valuable. Now for the part everyone's been waiting for, the value. A standard circulated example might not be worth much more than its face value, but in brilliant uncirculated condition, these coins have sold for well over $100. And some rare error varieties and top-graded proofs have brought in several $100s, with a few silver-proof examples and rare mint error pieces reaching into the thousands at auction. Top 3, we're diving into a coin from the late 1970s that many people still overlook, the 1978 Washington Quarter. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary piece of change, but for collectors, this coin can be full of surprises. Some rare conditions, mint errors, and special varieties make this quarter worth far more than its face value, and you'll want to hear every detail if you're serious about finding treasures in your pocket change. The Washington Quarter design has been with us since 1932, originally created to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. By 1978, the design was still going strong, with the familiar bust of Washington on the front and the majestic bald eagle with spread wings on the back. It was the final year before the 1979 quarters began production, and while millions of 1,978 quarters were minted, the real value comes down to condition, mint mark, and those fascinating errors that keep collectors excited. Now let's talk about where these coins came from. The Philadelphia Mint struck the majority of them, and those carry no mint mark. Denver also produced large numbers with the D mint mark, and San Francisco issued proof coins for collectors, marked with an S. The proof coins from San Francisco, especially those with sharp strikes and mirror-like finishes, stand out as the most desirable among the regular 1978 issues, but what really excites collectors are the rare mint errors. Some 1978 quarters were struck slightly off-center, leaving part of the design missing. Others were struck on the wrong planchets, meaning the coin might be missing its proper size or weight because it was struck on a blank meant for another denomination. Die cracks, die breaks, and double dies are also known to exist, and each one of these errors adds unique character and value. These mistakes are often one of a kind, which makes them especially appealing to collectors who love coins with a story. Condition is another huge factor. The majority of 1978 quarters have been heavily circulated, meaning they show scratches, dull surfaces, and wear. But when a coin is preserved in mint state condition, with bright luster and sharp details, its value increases dramatically. Some of these coins have been graded very high by professional grading companies, and those high grades can push the value into the hundreds or even more, depending on the market. It's also worth noting that many collectors enjoy completing date runs of Washington quarters, so even a coin from 1978 that seems common can be a key piece to fill a collection, especially if it's in better condition than most. Add in the fact that this design was soon to be replaced by newer varieties in the 1980s, and suddenly the 1978 quarter feels like an important piece of American coinage history. So, before you toss that old quarter into a vending machine, take a closer look. Check the mint mark, study the condition, and keep an eye out for doubling, off-center strikes, or other unusual features. You might just be holding a coin that collectors are eager to pay a premium for, and now for the part you've been waiting for, the value. While most circulated examples are still worth only their face value, uncirculated pieces can sell for well over $100. Proof examples in pristine condition have brought in several $100s, and rare mint-era quarters from 1978 have reached into the thousands of dollars at auction. Top 4. We're taking a closer look at a quarter from the early 1970s that many people still overlook in their change, the 1973 United States quarter dollar. While it may look like just another common Washington quarter, some of these coins can actually be worth a surprising amount of money. Condition, mint marks, and rare mint errors all play a huge role, and if you know what to look for, you might just discover a hidden treasure in your collection. The Washington quarter has a long and fascinating history. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, the design features the familiar portrait of Washington on the front and the bold American eagle on the reverse. By the year 1973, this design had already been circulating for decades, becoming a symbol of American coinage. Millions of quarters were struck that year, but as every collector knows, not all coins are created equal. The Philadelphia Mint produced 1973 quarters without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint issued large quantities marked with a D. But it's the San Francisco Mint that created something special: proof coins. These proof issues, struck with extra care on polished dies, often have mirror-like surfaces and frosted details, making them especially popular with collectors. The San Francisco coins carry the S mint mark, and pristine examples of these are always in high demand. Where things really get interesting is with the errors and varieties from this year. Some 1973 quarters show double die details, where the lettering or numbers appear slightly doubled due to misalignment during the striking process. Others were struck off-center, leaving part of the design missing. There are also quarters that were struck on the wrong planchets. Imagine finding a 1973 quarter that was accidentally struck on a dime or nickel blank. These types of mistakes are rare, and when they surface, collectors are willing to pay a premium to own them. Another factor that drives value is condition. The majority of 1973 quarters circulated heavily, which means they're scratched, worn, and dull from decades of use. But a coin that has been carefully preserved, still showing bright luster and sharp details, can be worth far more. Professional grading services often give these high-grade coin certification, and those top grades can increase value dramatically. Collectors who are trying to complete their Washington quarter sets especially prize coins in superb condition, since it's harder and harder to find them after so many years. The appeal of the 1973 quarter isn't just in its design or history, it's in its role as a piece of American culture. Think about all the hands a single coin may have passed through since 1973. For collectors, it's like holding a small piece of the past. And when that past includes a rare error, a proof strike, or a mint state example, the excitement only grows. So, if you come across a 1973 quarter in your pocket or tucked away in an old coin jar, don't dismiss it too quickly. Take a closer look for unusual details, check the mint mark, and pay attention to the overall condition. You never know when one of these coins might turn out to be something truly special. And now, the part you've been waiting for, the value. Most circulated 1973 quarters are still worth only their face value, but coins in uncirculated condition have sold for well over $100. Proof examples from San Francisco in pristine shape have reached several $100s, and rare error coins from 1973 have sold in auctions for thousands of dollars. Top 5, and last rare coin, we're diving into a quarter that many people have in their pocket change, but very few realize could be worth more than face value: the 1988 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, it looks like just another Washington quarter from the late 20th century, but collectors know that even ordinary coins can hold extraordinary surprises. Let's take a closer look at why this particular year has attracted so much attention from coin enthusiasts. The Washington quarter had already been in circulation for more than 50 years by 1988. Originally introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, the design by John Flanagan became a staple of American coinage. On the front, we see Washington's profile, and on the reverse, the powerful bald eagle with spread wings, clutching arrows and olive branches, a symbol of both strength and peace. By 1988, millions upon millions of these coins had been struck, but not every one of them tells the same story. The 1988 quarters were produced at two major mints, Philadelphia, which struck coins without a mint mark, and Denver, which used the D mint mark. The San Francisco Mint also produced proof versions for collectors, marked with an S. The proof issues are especially eye-catching, with mirror-like fields and frosted details that make them stand out from ordinary circulation strikes. Even today, these proofs are popular among collectors who appreciate their sharp beauty and limited production, but where the excitement really begins is in the errors and varieties. Some 1988 quarters were struck with doubling, where letters or numbers show a shadow-like second image. Doubling can be subtle or dramatic, and collectors are always eager to find these kinds of coins. Off-center strikes are another possibility, where the design doesn't line up correctly on the blank, leaving a noticeable shift. Then there are die cracks and die chips, small breaks in the minting dies that create extra blobs of metal on the coin. These often appear near Washington's head, on the eagle's wings, or around the lettering, and while they may seem minor, collectors love them because no two error coins are exactly alike. Another fascinating error type is the wrong planchet strike. Imagine a quarter being struck on a blank meant for a nickel or dime, the size and weight would be off, and the design would appear incomplete. These wrong planchet errors are very rare, but when they surface, they instantly become valuable collector's items. Condition also plays a massive role in value. Most 1,988 quarters spent decades in circulation, getting scratched, worn, and losing their original shine. But some were carefully preserved, either by accident or by collectors who recognized their potential. High-grade examples, with brilliant luster and sharp details, are the ones that attract strong bids when they come to market. Professional grading services have certified some of these coins in top mint state conditions, and those are the coins that can really bring in surprising amounts of money. The 1988 quarter might not seem special at first glance, but when you add up the possibilities, proof issues, mint errors, and pristine high-grade survivors, it becomes clear why collectors love this coin. It represents a piece of everyday history, a snapshot of American currency in the late 1980s, and it has the potential to turn up in your change even today. So, before you spend that old quarter from 1988, take a closer look. Check the mint mark, study the details, and don't ignore small imperfections. They might just be valuable mint errors hiding in plain sight. And now for the big reveal, the value. While most circulated 1988 quarters are still worth only 25 cents, examples in brilliant uncirculated condition can sell for well over $100. Proof versions from San Francisco in pristine shape have brought several $100s, and rare mint error coins from 1988 have reached into the thousands of dollars at major auctions. That's the thrill of coin collecting. What looks ordinary today could be a hidden treasure tomorrow. If you enjoyed learning about this rare and valuable coin, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment below with your thoughts or coin finds, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. By subscribing, you'll never miss out on the fascinating world of coins, rare errors, and hidden treasures that might be sitting in your pocket change right now. Join our growing community of coin lovers and treasure hunters today, and let's keep discovering history and value together.